Nobody gains 50 pounds from one bad choice. Nobody destroys their health from one bad choice. Nobody loses trust in themselves from one bad choice. What actually happens is so much more subtle than that. It's also so much more biological than what most people want to admit. Hi, I'm Dawn. Welcome to Beyond Optimal. One choice creates a condition. That condition makes the next choice easier or harder. And if you've ever tried to get back on track after breaking a rule you set for yourself, you know exactly what I'm talking about. One slip off the wagon doesn't mean you failed at willpower. It means the wagon got a little wobblier. And if that wobble happens again, the wagon gets wobblier and again. And eventually you're not on the wagon anymore. You're off of it. Being off it is actually easier than getting back on. Your nervous system has already learned a new pattern. It's already adjusted. Getting back requires disrupting that adjustment, and your body doesn't want to do that without a really good reason. I used to structure everything: keto, carnivore, all or nothing. Complete clarity about what was in and what was out. And it worked. Not because I had some superhuman discipline. It worked because the structure removed the decision making. My nervous system didn't have to negotiate every single moment. The rule was there. Follow it or don't. But here's what I didn't understand then. One time you break that rule, it feels totally manageable. You think you'll get back on tomorrow. You really do. But tomorrow, staying off the rule is actually easier than climbing back on. So you wait. You wait for the monumental moment, the Monday, the new year, the fresh start, the moment that feels big enough to justify the climb back up. And while you're waiting for that moment, the feedback loop keeps running underneath. Every day you're off reinforces that being off is the new normal. That's not weakness. That's your biology doing its job. There's another loop running underneath all of that. And this one is even more invisible. Satisfaction seeking. I wasn't snacking at night because I was hungry. I was snacking because I was seeking something. Relief, comfort, a signal my nervous system had learned to recognize and ask for. One time you give in to that signal, your body learns. It files that away. Snacking equals relief. So next time it needs relief, it asks louder. The signal gets stronger. It's not that you have less willpower the second time. It's that your nervous system is literally screaming louder for what it's learned works. One feedback loop stacked on top of another feedback loop stacked on top of another one. Here's what changed everything for me. Understanding that tiny decisions don't fail because I'm weak. They fail because feedback loops are real and they're powerful. And they're biological. Your nervous system, your environment, the conditions you've created through 1,000 small choices, they all work together to determine what comes next. Not willpower, conditions. Your body isn't broken, the system working exactly as designed. It's just designed around the wrong thing. Understanding all this doesn't stop the loop. I could see exactly what was happening. I could name the pattern. I could explain why my nervous system kept asking for relief at night. And none of that stopped it from happening. What actually stopped it was an insight. It was a mechanism, a tool, something that changed the biological condition underneath. When I finally had something that actually interrupted the signal, the loop broke. Not because I was smarter about it, not because I finally had the willpower, but because the condition changed. And that's the thing nobody wants to hear. Because it means understanding yourself isn't actually enough. So if you're watching this and you recognize yourself in any of this, the wagon, the waiting, the signals your nervous system keeps sending, I want you to know that's not a character flaw. That's a feedback loop. And feedback loops can be interrupted. The first step is seeing it for what it actually is. Not a willpower problem, not a discipline problem, a pattern. And patterns can change when the conditions change. If you want to understand what your specific pattern looks like, that's exactly what we do in a Beyond session. The link is below. I'll see you in the next one.